welcome to the Arya Bark Podcast, episode 92. My name's Caroline and I'm coming to you today from my home in Fife in Scotland. If you're a new viewer, welcome. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back. It's great to have you here. How have you all been doing? I hope you're well. I have been... I don't know what I've been. I finished a few projects, which is rather good. However, I don't know, this year my time management has just gone out the window. This video should have been recorded 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. Then it was getting recorded last week and then stuff. I have decided that I'm needing to get it done today because the longer I leave it, the more stuff there's going to be and it's just going to be horrendous. In this week's podcast, we have coming in and a little bit of lined up. I have been trying to be really good because we kind of need to fix the car. So I need to woe my spending. We have going out, StashSmash and whips. Anything that I speak about will be listed down in the description box below. If you watch Tonya from Karma's a Stitch, you will know that last weekend, I think it was last weekend, there was a cast-on party. Yes, this is how my life is going. I don't even know what day of the week it is. It was lots and lots of fun. I was a little bit more reserved with my cast-ons this time around because I do have a lot of whips. I have cast on a few projects, or 4 or 5, but I'm feeling quite confident that I'm going to get them completed at some point. Shall we head straight into coming in and get this party started? As you're aware, I'm taking part in Mandy's... I keep going to say Year of Yarn. It's not the Year of Yarn. That was last year. Mandy's Birthstone collection. As I said earlier, I need to kind of curb my spending. As much as I would like to buy all the yarn, I do have all of this filled. So, I've been really good. There were commitments that I made prior to having to woe my spending. Plus, if I don't want to go on holiday. But I'll talk more about that later on. What I do is I purchase both the variegated and the tonal Birthstone collection and the mini club every month. That's what I buy. That's what I limit myself to at the moment until we can get stuff fixed. The Birthstone collection for April is Diamond. And the first one we have is this. This is just Birthstone collection in Diamond. Wait a minute, do it that way. It's 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. Look how pretty that is. And as per usual, there's a hair. A patchy bum hair. That is the Diamond. Absolutely stunning. Absolutely love it. There is, what date's it? It's 22nd. There is still time to purchase this if you want to purchase it. You can do so by going to Mandy's coffee shop, which I will link down. It should still be linked down below. So that's the Diamond. And then we have Black Diamond. Now, show you this. This is Black Diamond. This is absolutely stunning. Love it. So, these are the two Birthstone collections. They're absolutely gorgeous. I was unsure what I was going to make with it until the gorgeous Sarah had made a comment during the cast-on party And Mandy had cast on, or was going to cast on, the Exordium by Rebecca. Don't know, I'll leave it up there. I'll need to find out how to pronounce that. And she had 2 yarns, and she was asking, do you think these will go? And Sarah had made the suggestion of doing the black diamond and the diamond together. Well, at this point I hadn't actually picked what I was doing with these. It was probably going to be socks. That was maybe going to go into a Stephen West. Wasn't 100% sure. And when I looked at the pattern, I was like, oh my god, that's amazing. Absolutely stunning. And I do actually think these will go really well together. Now, I do have a lot of whips on, because I was thinking, if I get everything cast on and make reasonable progress, I'll maybe just cast that on as well. Or I'll maybe cast it on either the Sunday or the Monday, which is a thing that some of us tend to do. We cast on and we just keep carrying it on. This event is eventually going to turn into a week-long affair. I'm just saying. I was going to cast it on, and then I sat and looked at the projects that I had. And I was like, well, I'm kind of needing to fix this one, and I'm needing to fix this one, and I was like, I'm not casting any more on, I just need to work on the ones that I've got. These are going to go into this bag that was in Mandy's Halloween box. I'm going to stick these in here, and these are now going to go on the list for the next cast on party. Or if I manage to get a reasonable amount of stuff finished, I may possibly cast it on. But that's what I'm planning on making. It has definitely been added to the list in pencil in case I cast it on sooner. But I have added it onto the list to say this is what I'm planning on making with this one. Next, I did get my April Mystery Mini Club, which caused a little bit of confusion, and I was kind of glad it wasn't just me being a bit thick. I'd opened it up and I was like, I thought this was a 5-skein mini set. Now I know Mandy had died, was doing other things with minis, and I thought, she accidentally stuck an extra mini in my box. I better say to her in case she's frantically hunting where this other mini's gone. So I messaged her, I was like, hey lovely, not entirely sure if you know, but my box has 6 minis in it. If you let me know what one shouldn't be there, I'll post it back to you. And she was like, no, it's supposed to be 6 because I couldn't decide which one of them to get ready. So I just decided to give everybody as a wee Easter treat an extra mini. However, I am aware that Mandy does have international customers who may or may not have already got their package, so I'm not going to ruin it. So I will show you last month's one, which I've not done yet. So, last month's, the Mystery Mini Club is again still available. If you contact Mandy, I'll leave details in below. These are stunning. This was the prompt. It's a little kingfisher. Absolutely adorable. And these are the minis. Can you see? These are the minis. They are absolutely stunning. Now, I may or may not have cast my project on that I'm making with this one. I think I said before what I was wanting to do was use them in the Western Hills blanket. That was a project that I did cast on at the cast on party. And myself and the lovely Ryan came up with a plan on how to use them. My original plan was to do them as a fade. So these ones would have gone like that. And what he suggested to do, there was, I think in the January skein, there was one that had colours from all of them in it. Now, obviously, I know not everyone is going to be like that. However, we have come up with a plan. So, what we're going to do, there's no we in this. This is what Ryan suggested. Because of the way, do I have that? Actually, I've got it sitting, so I'll be able to show you. Well, I'll kind of be able to show you. So, this is a January one. The boxes don't come with that. I done that, so I knew what one it was. So, we had this one, which is a speckly one, which had colours of all of them in it. So this is going to be the third mini. Then, because it goes from the lightest to the darkest, then this one. And then Ryan, my plan was to do it that way. And Ryan says, well, if you're doing it to the darkest and you're going to have that in the middle, why not have it going the other way and doing it like that? So, that is what I'm doing. So I need to do that with them all. Because this one doesn't have a speckled one in it, what I've done is I've had the two darker ones together. So that'll just go like that. And it's going to be awesome. So that is the March one. The March one isn't available any longer. However, the April one is. The April one is stunning. Now, I keep saying it every single month that I get it. Obviously, you get to see what the prompt is. And the prompt for April is a sunset at sunset or sun. No, I'm pretty sure it is a sunset and no sunrise. However, either way is absolutely stunning. Absolutely gorgeous. So, I have cast that project on. I will stick this back up on my shelf until I need it. Rather than keeping all the boxes in bags, I'm trying to keep them all together. So, that's that one. And, so that's literally all I purchased. That's it. That's all I purchased. So, I purchased what I thought was 300 grams. It turned out to be 320. And 1,280 metres. And I'm so excited. Absolutely thrilled. Love them all. Again, I will leave Mandy's shop link down below. Now, as I've said before, I'm a member of both Mandy's coffee shop and Denise's coffee shop, and there's perks. As a perk, you get entered into a monthly draw, and I won it. Denise asked what I would like, and I just told her to surprise me, because trying to pick from either Mandy's shop or Denise's shop is like trying to pick your favourite child, which we all know is bad. Depending on the day, most days it's Arya because she's less trouble. But Denise very, very kindly gifted me this as my prize. It is stunning. Love that colour. That's Denise's skirt. And this is Summer Party, which is a 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. You get 400 metres and 100 grams. I have absolutely no idea what I'm going to do with this. Absolutely none. I may need to speak to Denise because she done a shawl that was really, really pretty. So I may possibly do that. I may possibly stick it into a Stephen West, because I do want to do the slip extravaganza. I keep putting yarns in for a slip extravaganza, and I keep flipping things back out again and using it for other stuff. So I do need to get my finger out and pick what I'm going to be making what yarns I'm going to be using for this extravaganza. I might actually use this one. Or I might make a shawl or a cowl. I haven't quite decided with this one. However, it is absolutely stunning. Love it. So a massive, massive thank you to Denise for the absolutely gorgeous prize. I've just realised that's a new message. I've had this for about a week. Denise, I'm so sorry. My head has been up my backside. Again, massive thank you to Denise. Absolutely love this. Again, I don't know if I'm going to do it. However, I'm going to have a look later on when I have lunch. I'll maybe sit and have a look through Ravelry and see if I can make a decision regarding this one. So that was it. I didn't even pay for that one. That was a gift. So, this podcast, I have brought in 420 grams. Well, I didn't. That's the total that was brought in, was 420 grams. And 1,680 metres. So, yeah. Slightly more reserve. Again, it is what it is. So, yeah, I'm quite happy. I'm being good. It's very hard being good, but I'm being good. Because I do like having a car. I'm so excited. I'm not going to lie, I'm very, very excited. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do it in the order that I finished them in. So, as you're aware, last month I was doing the Versus Arthritis knitting challenge. Obviously my challenge was to knit 4 pairs of socks in 4 weeks. Oh, I've lost a sock. I did indeed manage to finish all 4 pairs. The third pair was Socks on a Plane by Linneman. Now, these socks had originally been started in September 2022 and then ripped. I think I'd only got about this much done. I had mentioned in the vlogs that there was a bit of negativity attached to these. Maybe it wasn't the best thing to cast on when you're discussing putting your father-in-law into a home, permanently into a home. However, I did rip them back out. I did recast them back on. I do have 2 socks. So there's the left one. There's the right one. They are completely finished. I finished these on the 27th of March. I was very, very excited. So I did have a few days left for this. So this is actually pair number 4 that was finished. Modifications. I've done the basic socks with integrated heel by Ailbíona McLochlainn. I do need to go back and fix that slight hole. Is a sock? Maybe it's going nowhere. The socks on a plane are a free pattern on Ravelry. The basic socks with integrated heel is a paid for pattern. I think it's about €4. Or is it £4? However, for that price, you do get 2 separate sock patterns. You get the cuff down version and you get the toe up version. In the pattern, you get from size 2 or 3 up. Ailbíona also tells you how to do it if you've got a half size, or how to make it if your feet are like bolts. The integrated heel pattern is my favourite pattern, I will be honest. I use it all the time. I used Picoult Zigzag in shade 4810, which is Bumblebee, which is this. It is a 75% wool, 25% nylon. You get 420 metres and 100 grams. Done my usual, which was 15. It was toe up, so there was 20 rounds for... Right, so there was 20 rounds for the foot. There was 20 rounds for the toe. 64 rounds for the foot. I done the basic, the integrated heel is my heel. I done the toe up version. And round about here, yeah, is where you start the leg. I done a bit the same. I'm sure it was either 64 or 68 rounds, depending on the chart. And then I don't know why this sock is the exact same, but it keeps sliding. I done the 16 rounds, which is 15 complete rounds, and on the 15th round I also bound it off, which gives me the 16. Yeah, so that was that one. I used 63.33 grams or 265.99 meters. I'm very, very happy. This is pair of socks number 3 for this year. Pair of socks number... No, these were pair of socks number 3. They were pair of socks number 4, so I've got 4 pairs of socks. These are the Rhinebeck Roomies by Litton, who is Crady Sock Lady Designs. This, I've said it's a free pattern. I don't think it is a free pattern. I think it's a paid for pattern. I'm pretty sure this is a paid for pattern on Ravelry. I started these September last year, and for the challenge I ripped it back because I had absolutely no idea where it was. So, plus there was mistakes in it. So the easiest option was just to rip it back and recast it on. So I finished these on the 21st of March. I was very, very happy. I done 16 repeats. I basically just followed the pattern for this. Again, I done the integrated heel, which was a paid for pattern. I haven't actually said I done a UK size 5. I am not 100% sure what size that is for other people. So it's a UK size 5. I used Mouse Witch yarns, Year of Yarn for January. They are stunning. This is a 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. You get 400 metres and 100 grams. I used 76.38 grams or 305.52 metres. I used a 2.25mm high sharp. So, we've got 2 pairs of socks. My next project, at that point I had started to sway, and we're going to try and get another pair of socks finished, but I was pretty much done with the socks by that point. I was so over socks, it wasn't even funny. And I thought, you know what, I've spent the last 27 days knitting on nothing but socks. I'm wanting something else. So, I had realised at that point that I had not done my March dishcloth, so that is what I've done. This is the Keylime dishcloth by the Kitchen Sink shop. You get this free when you sign up to their email list. It's dishcloth. I used, do I have it sitting? No, it's not, it's over there. I used Hobby Rainbow DK in a solid. This was shade 65, which is apricot. I did change the needle size. I'm sure the pattern calls for a 3.25, either a 3.25 or a 3.5. I don't need the dishcloth to be bulletproof. At that point, I'd pretty much knit consistently for nearly a month on socks. With this being as dense, my hands hurt. So I went up to a 3.75, which still gives me, I'll do it on the back, you should see better on the back. Gives me a decent fabric. It's no horrendous. It's no loose or gapey or anything like that. I do still have to block it. I used 28.39 grams or 42.59 metres. It's a dishcloth. It will go with my pile of dishcloths. I never made any modifications except for the fact that I did go up in needle size. So that was the only modification that I made. Now I'm going to take a drink because the next one is epic. Which is why I've been away for so long. As I knew the cast on party was coming, I was having a look at my projects and I was like, I really need to start getting some of these done. I just keep collecting projects. I'm fast running out of project bags. I'm fast running out of certain sizes of needles and hooks. I just need to get on and start getting stuff finished. Now, I have a running joke with a friend over one particular project. I started this project on the 12th of April 2020, and we'd been talking, and she had made the comment, oh, well, that will keep you going for a couple of years. And I was like, what do you mean a couple of years? I'm going to have it finished by Christmas. This Christmas, I'm going to be curled up on the couch with this gorgeous Tunisian blanket. It's going to be fantastic. It's going to be epic. So Christmas came and went, and it became an annual thing where every April 12th contacted me and was like, so how's your blanket? Are we done yet? Did we finish at Christmas? Did we finish? Now, my friend does watch the podcast, so she knew well that I hadn't finished the project. I hadn't been seen for months. So I got it into my head, I really need to get this project finished. I cannot go into year 5 with this project still. It's just shocking. It's not a difficult part. When I work on it, I enjoy working on it. So I'd been speaking to... Who was there when I was speaking about it? There was the lovely Tonya from Karma's a Stitch. There was the lovely Nancy from Kitty Scrapper Podcast. And there was my gorgeous friend Sally. And I was like, I just need to get this project finished. And Tonya, being the practical person that she was like, so how... I think I'd said I've got 92, 93 squares to finish. I'm kind of wanting, I need to get this done by the 12th. And Tonya was like, well, that's really only, you would only really need to do 13 a day. She was like, how long is it taking you to do them? And I don't know why I said it took about 15, 20 minutes. Because it doesn't take 15 to 20 minutes. It was taking me 25 to 30 minutes, depending on the yarn, to do a square. And going on the premise that it only took me about 15, 20 minutes, Tonya and Nancy had said, well, really, it's only going to take you about 4 hours. If you work on it 4 hours every day, you're going to get 13 done. You're going to have it finished by the end of the week. Well, that was it. What I didn't take into account was the other stuff that I had to do. So, I literally sacked off everything. I never moved out this room for a full week. I would get up first thing in the morning. I would start working on it. I would have a wee bit of a break for lunch. I'd keep working on it, have a wee bit of a break for dinner. And I found I was taking longer and longer and longer to get it done. Saturday and Sunday I managed it no problem. Monday, I hadn't been feeling great on the Monday. I really didn't feel great on the Monday. And I think I ended up going back to my bed, which then put me behind. On Tuesday, obviously I've got a lot of appointments with Andrew. I'm normally out first thing in the morning. I don't normally get back until 1:30ish. I didn't take that into account either. So on Tuesday I was starting to fall behind. Come Wednesday, I don't even think I'd finished Tuesdays at that point. I think I still had something to finish on the Tuesday. And it was just sheer pig-headedness with me. It's like, I am not having this finish later than Friday. It needs to be done by Friday. By midnight on Friday, this needs to be finished. Because the cast-on party was on Saturday. Sally and I had made a joint... I wouldn't say it was a competition, because it wasn't. A joint effort. Sally's been working on a sock for Christmas. and she's not interested in it. And she was like, if you finish your blanket by Friday, I will try and get this sock finished by Friday. Sally finished her sock, I think, on the Wednesday. Which, to be honest, we all knew it was going to happen. What I thought was happening is I'd see Sally finish hers and go, do you know what, I'm not going to get this done. I'm just going to sack it off, it's fine. However, I was like, I'm not wanting to go another year with this. That's still on my hook. So, I was bad. I was really bad. I'd got to the Friday. And I think on the Friday I had, 5 or 6 left to do on the Friday. And I was speaking with Tonya. Tonya was going out and she was like, by the time I get home, I want to see that you've finished the final 4. I was like, go get it done! It's awesome! Oh, Sue was there as well. And so it was like, well, I'll stay with you until we get this done. So we were sitting chatting away. And I was working away on it and I was like, right, it was getting later. And later. And later. And I was like, look, Sue, this is getting ridiculous now. I'll let you go to your bed. I will definitely get it done. I'm not going to go to my bed until it's finished. So I came off soon. At some point in between Tonya leaving and Sue leaving, I got my bags mixed up of the minis that had already been used and the minis that hadn't been used. And I'd put in, was it 2 or 3 of the squares, so I only had a couple left. Now I kept messaging Tonya. I was like, I've got this many left. And I'd message her and say, right, Sue's gone to her bed. I'm going to finish this. I've only got this amount to do. And then I was like, oh, you've got to be kidding me. That's when I noticed that the last 2 or 3 had been colours that had already been put on. I was like, I'm going to have to pull them back out again. But at this point, it was like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. At that point, I should have just went, do you know what? I'm not going to cast anything on tomorrow morning. I'm going to go to my bed, I'm going to get some sleep. And I'll just finish it tomorrow. But no, I said I was going to finish it on the Friday. And technically, albeit it was technically Saturday, I hadn't went to my bed, so it was technically still Friday. So I did manage to get it done. And at this point, it was like it was about 5 o'clock in the morning. No, it was back 4, 3:30 in the morning. And I was saying to Mandy, I literally finished it. And I was like, I need to go wake Ryan up. It was the best impressed, can I just say. Right, it was the best impressed that I woke him up at 4:30 in the morning going, my blanket's finished. However, my blanket is finished. Now, this has 400 squares in it. I'm rather... Where's the bottom? Right, this has 400 squares in it. And can you see all the bulb markers? Right, so this... Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. So this entire section, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So this entire section was completed. I'll just show you. Can't get any further back. Now, when I picked it up, I had done this. So I had these 3 to finish. Had them to finish. Then I had this entire section to finish, and then that top one to finish. So I had hadn't I? Yeah, because I've been working on it for a while. So yeah. I can now sit and take out all of my bulb markers, for which there are hundreds. I've got hundreds of stitch markers in here. This started with Rusty Ferret yarn, which was the first hand-dyed yarn that I bought, and finished with yarn that I was gifted from my gorgeous friend Heather. This whole entire last section is mostly made up of yarns that were gifted. So this one was from Ryan, that's from Tonya, that was from Heather, that was from Tonya, that's Mandy's. What one's that? I can't remember what that is. Is that Denise's? That was from Ryan. That was from Ryan. So yeah. Love it! I am very, very grateful to get all my stitch markers back, because I have decimated my stitch marker box. Oh, I never even said what the blanket is. Goodness sake. This is the Bandwagon blanket by Beth. Graham. Is a free pattern on Ravelry. It is a Tunisian crochet blanket. I started this on the 12th of April 2020. I finished it on the 12th of April 2024. Look how nice. Look how nice the ragtail minis. Oh, look. Love it. Modifications. I done a Tunisian knit stitch in the forward pass, and on the return pass a Tunisian thread together to make my little diagonal line going up. Love it. I used various 4-ply scraps and minis, and the back here looks like Spaghetti Junction. A lot of these have been already woven in. I just need to go back and cut it. The top ones I need to weave in, and there's ones on the other side that haven't even been woven in. I think it's very rare that I haven't woven them in. However, I can go back and do that, no problem. I used a 4.5mm Knit Pro Symphony Tunisian hook, and I used 1156.08 metres, or 3376.12 metres. It's massive. It's not the biggest blanket I've made, let's be honest, but it's a fair size. It does look like clown vomit, I'm not going to lie, but that's it on the floor. So it's a decent blanket to fling over myself. And yeah, I think it's about wingspan length. Yeah, it's about wingspan length. My neighbour thinks I'm demented. Yeah, so it's fairly big. I have not gone back and woven my ends in. I will do that later on while I'm editing. I'll take all my bulb markers out. So that is what I finished. It does need a bit of a wash. However, I need to find somewhere to put it to dry, which is the issue. This podcast, I have completed 1,324.18 grams, or 3,990.22 metres. I am ecstatic. I'm not going to lie. I am thrilled. I am one blanket down. As I've said before, I have actually started another one. Well, I've started two. I get rid of one mini blanket and start on two. As you're aware, my goal is to craft 25,000 metres in 2024. My previous outgoing was 4,086. Nope. 4,864.57 metres. The 3,000, nearly 4,000 metres that I crafted this podcast has brought my total up to 8,854.79 metres. I'm ecstatic. Absolutely ecstatic. I have previously brought in 8,640.92 metres, only brought in 1,680 metres this month, which brings my total incoming to 10,320.92 metres. It is what it is. If I can get some more in my blankets finished and the bigger projects finished, I don't think it would be that bad. I just need to start finishing projects rather than just keeping them on the needles. Which means to target I have 16,145.21 metres to go. I'm nearly halfway there. Kind of. Nearly. Maybe. I'm getting closer to the halfway point. Obviously it's still April. I've still got another 2 months to go. So there is every chance that I could get to the halfway point by the middle of the month. Middle of the year. So for this year I have crocheted 1,076. That's not right. That's not right. That's wrong. I will need to do rejiggy that maths, because I've just added that entire 3,000 blankets straight on to the knitting and it's not. So I have crocheted 4,400 metres in crochet, and I have knitted about 3,000 odd metres. I've not spun anything and I've not woven anything so far this year. As you're aware, I am taking part in the Ravelry Project Challenge. My challenge is to knit 32 projects, to make 32 projects in 2024. So far this year I have completed 18, which brings me to 56%. I am well over the halfway point at this point. There is definitely another 14 projects that could get finished this year, if I just put my mind to it and get on with it and stop casting on blankets, because apparently that's all I want to work on these days is blankets. Don't know if that means something psychologically, but all I want to work on is blankets. My first whip is another pair of socks. I am slowly but surely getting there with the sock knitting. I can't say I'm over enthused about socks so far. Maybe it wasn't my best idea. Maybe what I need to do next March knitting challenge. What I need to do is I need to work on blankets and then I'll stop casting blankets on. These are the Cherry Pie socks by Debbie Ford. They're a pair of socks. I've only cast on one sock. The other ball is sitting here. I don't even have the bob on for this. This, I'm pretty sure, is a top sock in the pattern. I'm not 100% sure. These are a free pattern on Ravelry. I was going great guns until the cast on party, and now they've got left. I'm just going to keep working on them. It is something that I take with me when I'm going to Andrew's appointments. It's a lot easier to knit on socks than what it is to humph other projects with me. So I'm just going to keep working on it. Again, as with all my socks modifications, I will be doing the integrated tail by Ailbíona McLochlainn. I'm not quite at that point yet. I think I've got another 24 rounds to go before I start putting heel in. Really, really nice pattern. This is a cuff down sock. I've done it toe up. I just prefer toe up socks. It lets me get as much out the yarn as I feel like. So obviously once I've done the foot's covered, at least at that point I can just carry on up however long I want it. So all I done was jiggly pokered the chart. That's all done. Once I've done the foot, on the leg it's only worked on the front, which is fine, because I wasn't sure whether it was worked on the front and the back. My intention was to only work it on the front. This yarn is Rosie's Knit and Shed in the You Fairy colourway. I am not 100% sure what this is. It could be, it is quite soft, so I don't know if it's a 75-25. However, I'm just using it as a 75-25. I've not actually made notes on Ravelry when I added it. It's this set here. I don't have the ball band. I don't even know where the ball band is. This is the Cherry Pie socks are a free pattern on Ravelry. Again, I'll leave that link down below. I am using a 2.25mm Chowgu needle. There you go. And I am hoping to get these finished. I was going to say by the end of April. Really, am I going to get them finished by the end of April? Probably no. I could if I worked on them, but there's other things. Again, I just need to pull my finger out and get them done, to be perfectly honest with you. So that is these ones. I said it was a free pattern on Ravelry. Sorry, I tied my bags up because Patch is taken to journal stuff. We had Ellie's leg coat and a warehouse bag. The animals are a nightmare. So my next project, is it here? No, it's not. 2 seconds. So my next project is the Coziest Memory Blanket by Kemper Ray. Modifications that I'm making. I have decided this section here. So I've left the bulb markers in the centre so you know. These 4 are the centre squares. What I'm then doing is coming out and at either end, those ones are the next ones to get done, and then I go back a bit like here. So obviously I've done this one. Was that one? No, it was this one. I do this one first and then I do that one. And then I do the top 2 and then the corner one. The ones with the bulb markers in it. So this one, that one, that one, that one, that one, that one have all been put in. I'm just going to keep the centre 4 in so that I know exactly which ones come next. I do have my little beaded stitch markers to show me which ones need to be started first. So when I come to do the next round, yeah, is that right? Yeah, so I'm on this part at the moment. So when I start again on the next round, when I come to do the bit at the bottom, the next one that I'll start is here, and I'll go down this way, then I'll go up, I'll stop round a bit here, then I'll go along and do this one, and at that point I can put the corner one in. Then I go along this way, yeah, go along that way, then I do, no, don't, I do this one and I go up, then I do that one and I go along, then I'll do this one and go along, then I'll come back and finish that bottom one off, then I'll do this one to round about here, and at that point I'll do that one and then down. It's planned out in my head. I know how to work it. It's coming along. Now that I've shown you this, I can take those stitch markers out. This is a really, really enjoyable knit. It is a free pattern on Ravelry. I have made a slight modification though. I think the pattern has you do a SSK and a knit 2 together, to do the centre decrease. I prefer doing a centre double decrease. I like the way that it looks. I've got like a chevron-y pattern going on. Obviously I've got my X coming out in the centre, and then I've got sections either end. It is working up lovely. I'm really enjoying it. I am using, sorry, I've got stuff in here. 2.75 Knit Pro Zing Fixed Circular. It's big enough to do. I can get the full square in. It gives me enough room. And I am weaving my ends in as I go. Absolutely loving this pattern. I said I was doing a 2.75. I'm just using various 4-ply scraps. I'm just going to keep working in a great giant circle until it's done. I'm hoping to get either a 60x60 or a 90x90 blanket. It just depends on how I'm feeling. But again, it is what it is. So that is that one. Next is my cast-ons. Now, I'm going to show you a project and I don't want you to laugh, because Ryan's totally ruined this project for me. So, the first project I wanted to cast on at the cast-on party was a kit that I was gifted by my gorgeous friend Tonya from Karma's a Stitch at Christmas when we done the Advent swap. And it's this. It's a tiny walrus kit. Now, let me see if I can turn this so that you don't get the glare. Make itty bitty walruses. They're only about a couple inches big. So, I have, when I'm stuck, got my needle. And I started it. However, I went through to show Ryan how much I'd done. I was so happy with myself. I've got my walrus started. It looks so cute. And I handed him it, to which he turned it up and he was like, why are you knitting a testicle? And since he said it looked like a testicle, I now cannot knit on it. Because I keep saying, it's a testicle. It's not a testicle, it's supposed to be a walrus. See, these are his flippers. I think I'm going to have to put my big girl pants on and get it done so that it stops looking more like a testicle and starts looking more like a walrus. So his body's been done, he is filled. I've stuffed him quite full. Next on the agenda is to put his eyes on. And is that right? Sure. Next on the agenda is the eyes. I have to do his eyes and his nose, then I do the tusks, then I do his whiskers, then I put on his front flippers. Well, her front flippers, because this is a female. This is Wilhelmina. Wilhelmina walrus. This chappy here shall be called Walter Walrus. And Wilhelmina and Walter shall sit on my desk and look very, very cute and remind me that I have amazing friends. My friends are wonderful. So, I have got Wilhelmina started. I do need to get her finished. And then I need to make Walter. Cute. Love it. So, I do need to get this finished. That'll be my plan for the next podcast, is to have them both finished. It doesn't take that long. I did get a teeny tiny bit confused with the pattern. The instructions are kind of clear. However, you do have to think. Obviously, you're doing them on sock needles. But there isn't really, she doesn't really tell you that there's a break, because obviously you're being on such a small circumference. It's never 100% clear what you're supposed to do, so you do have to sit and think a wee bit, which wasn't my best idea for a cast-on party, let's be honest. I think I cast on the flippers and that was about all done at that point, because that's when I had to sit and think. So I got the flippers cast on. I did get Wilhelmina's body done and tied off and stuffed. I just need to finish her. Obviously this is a kit that I was gifted at Christmas. You can buy the pattern on Ravelry, and it is $6 but for that I think you get 3 or 4 other patterns in along with that. I have used a 2.25mm needle and I just need to get it finished. It is enjoyable. I do enjoy me fiddly bits, and I do have Ailbíona yarn left, so that is that one. So I'm wanting to get Wilhelmina and Walter finished by the next podcast, I hope. Now, this is where it all started going a bit peaked. As I said, I went to bed at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I woke up again by Patch at 8 o'clock, and then he proceeded to wake me up every 15 minutes between 8 and when I eventually did get up, which was about 9:30, 9:45, 10. The reason the podcast has taken so long, the next 3 projects have all been ripped out and restarted. They were all cast on at the cast on party, and because of lack of sleep and just the inability to read a pattern, basically, I've had to rip them all back out. So the next project that I cast on is another Edie by Isabel Kramer. They're the needle stops that I was looking for. Why are you on there? You should not be on there, you should be on a blanket. These are supposed to be on my blanket. That's where I lost them from. So, this is the Edie by Isabel Kramer. I have got it in the round. I need to stick this right here to mark where I am. I have, apologies. So I've stuck my little penguin head on to mark where I am just now. I am just working down the body at this point. Think I'm about to go into the raglan shaping. I think that's all I've got left to do now is the raglan shaping. So I've got another few rounds left to go. I have had to jiggery pokery because apparently I was adding in bits that didn't need to be there, and I was adding in bits that were needing to be there. So that is this. What I've done with this is I have cast on a smaller size. Now obviously I know what my bust measurement is. I know how much positive ease I'm wanting about the bust area. However, if you can see by here, I have quite narrow shoulders. And the problem that I have with tops is because I have got a slightly bigger bust than my shoulders, they tend to start sliding and being quite gappy and just being a colossal pain in my backside. Now, especially with V-necks, if I have them sitting like that, that is way too much cleavage to be shown at my age. Okay, I'm not a pensioner, let's be honest, but it is far too much cleavage, in my opinion, to be shown. Way too much cleavage. So, I then have to start walking about with tank tops on to correct the fact that I've got too much cleavage going on. So what I've done is I have gone down 2 sizes. I think what I might need to do is to check this out to make sure that it's definitely working, because I've not put it on bigger needle sizes to make sure that it's sitting properly. But the plan is to go down 2 sizes and then gradually increase it up. So I've obviously done one set of increases, one set of additional increases to bring it up to the next size,
and now I'm on to the next section where I've increased it up to where my bust size is, and I think it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine, but I can't keep having me constantly having to fix myself. Now, I had originally started this in a cotton cake, and it was like knitting with thread. It was supposed to be a 4-ply. I don't think it was a 4-ply at all. I think it was virgin on being a lace weight. So, I wasn't keen on the fabric. It was gapey. I originally went down, because the pattern calls for a 3.5, I went down to a 3.25, and it was slightly better, but still slightly see-through. So I thought, do you know what? No, it wasn't. Mandy had cast on a project using similar yarn to this to make a top, and I thought I really could use one of those cakes for a top. So that's what I've done. I am using the Stanley Baby Muffin in colour number 718. It is like that. That isn't, that's made a creamy colour, to be honest. I'm trying this. Even if I don't get it perfect, if I get something that's at least wearable, I'll be happy, because I can always just wear it in the house. And then what I wasn't wanting to do was use more precious stuff. And obviously this is horrendous to crochet with, so it's completely out for crochet. So I thought I'll try and knit and wear, and if that fails, I'm just going to weave it, because at that point there's no going to be anything that I can do there. I'm going to try this top. At that point, if I can get that to work, obviously I've got notes on how I made the modifications. I can then use other yarns to make more of them. I absolutely love my ID top. The only thing is it's a bit gapy around the neck, because I've done a 42-inch bust, which I need for my bust size, but it doesn't fit with my shoulders. So that's the plan. This is, I think, 100% cotton. It's not 100% cotton, it's 100% acrylic. Quite happy wearing acrylic tops, doesn't bother me. So yeah, I'm going to keep going with this. As I said, I'm using a 3.25mm. I will no, this doesn't have ribbon, so I don't need to worry about that. I do, however, need to stop winding my stitches round. So I'm just going to keep working on this. It's fairly easy. I think I've got a few more rounds to go before I start the patterning at the bottom, but again, it's nothing too difficult, and I'm just going to keep working on it until it's done. So that was cast on number 2. Good. Second time this has been cast on. The next one, in my lovely bag from Tonya's mum. I love this. Now, as I said in the last episode, I was gifted yarn from my gorgeous friend Sue, and I wanted to do something at the cast on party with it. I had chose to do Sibo by Marie Amelie Designs, and this is it. I'll show you the back. Love it. I got so thoroughly confused. I was having a bit of a moment, obviously lack of sleep. This part was in out like a fiddler's elbow, because I just could not get what she wanted me to do. I was skipping half the stitches. I was only knitting on one half, so it looked totally wonky. However, I understand what I'm doing. Obviously it's brioche. Absolutely adore it. Now, Sibo is a free pattern on Ravelry. They were at one point all paid for patterns. They are now free patterns, and there's a whole wheen of them, and they're all stunning. The pattern calls for 2 skeins. You've got 2 skeins of one colour and your main colour, and then you've got a contrasting colour. What I'm going to do, because I don't have 2 skeins of either the aquamarine tonal or Arya's bum here, Sue's purple speckled, what I've done is I've added in a 3rd colour, which will be this one, which is from the gorgeous Tonya at Karma's a Stitch. It was my Christmas gift, and kind of looks like Ellie or Millie. This will be the 3rd colour, and that will go round the whole thing. I am cooking with gas, however, I have to do this 4, technically 8 row repeat 39 times. I will be here for the duration. I am currently on 10. I have another 29 to go. It will eventually take longer, is that right? Just on the 11th one. So I've got 18 to go. 18 to go. So I'm just going to keep working on it. It's just going to keep going out, and then at that point I think I'll go back in, and then I add on this one round the side. Modifications, I'm using 3 skeins rather than 2. This was the variegated purple that I received from my gorgeous friend Sue. This is the aquamarine tonal from Mousewitch Yarns. Do I have the tag? Yes, I do. Look at me go. This is Mousewitch Yarn in the shade Birthstone Collection, which is the aquamarine tonal. It is a 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. You get 400 metres and 100 grams. This is the exact same, this one. And the Boss Kitty Cat's Cradle is again a 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. This is in the colourway, they say Coraline. Tonya changed it to Caroline. Absolutely love it. Love that shade of blue. This is going to be amazeballs. Absolutely love it. Just gotta keep working on it. I pick it up. I do at least a couple of repeats a day. It's easy enough to work on. You don't have to think too much. There's about 1 row in the 8 row repeat that you actually need to think about. The rest of it is just carrying the pattern on. I'm going to stick that back in, and I'm going to sit this back in, and hopefully I'll get to that one really, really soon. The pattern calls for a 3, I'm sure it's a 3.5 and a 3. Is it 3.5 and a 3.75mm needle. I will leave it linked down below. I have left myself a note to say that I need to check to make sure that I'm definitely using the right size needle, because obviously I've got it written down that I use a 3.25. This is a 3.5. I'm sure I went down because I thought a 4 was going to be too big, but it's lovely. Absolutely adore it. It's going to be amazeballs when it's finished. It's just going to take me ages to get it finished. So that is that project. No, it's not. There's another project. I cast on 5 projects. There's one that's missing. The next project I'll show you in the next podcast, let's be honest, because I've not got notes for it and I'm not wanting to get the details wrong. So I will show you the 5th project on the next podcast. So that's this one. I'm going to stick my wee French toast in. I've got a wee French toast bead stitch marker in. My final project, obviously it isn't my final project because there was another project cast on. I'll show you that next time. As I said before, I wanted to cast on the Western Hills, the blanket, by Julia Stanfield. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. Again, I'll leave it linked down below. The plan for this blanket, now Julia has one that's sort of like rainbow coloured, that's separated with black. Can you see? It's sparkly. Absolutely love it. This is the January one. So what will happen is, and I'll be able to explain it slightly better now. So we had these. Now the other two are in the back, so we had these. So this one has bits of these two in it, as well as these two. So what we done was we went for light to darkest. I had originally wanted to do it that way. Can you see? So it would have went that way. And Ryan has suggested, well, if you're going to the darkest, would it not be better to swap this one and this one, so that you have the variegated in the middle, and then you have the darkest to lightest, and then you'll go lightest to darkest, darkest to lightest. Just because there's the black in between. And my cushion has completely fallen off my chair. So, this is how much I've got done so far. It is seriously, seriously pretty. I'm obsessed. Again, this was ripped out and restarted. I had originally cast it on a 4mm or a 4.5mm needle. I was doing it 2 strands held double. I was doing that, one for the outside, one for the inside. Everything was going great. Absolutely fantastic. No issues. Bro. Until I got to here. This one here. And it was going great guns. Now, this has you do 8 rounds. You have to do. You could technically do more, but I'm wanting to put stuff in mother blankets, so I've only done what the pattern calls for. Now, when I done it held double, the issue that I had, I got halfway through a round and I was stuffed. I didn't have enough to finish an entire 2-row repeat. If I took it back, you were only getting wee bits, and it meant that I would only be able to do one ridge, and I didn't like how it was looking. So what I done was I ripped it back. I cast it on as a 4-ply blanket, and it's no massive. Obviously I'm on a really wee needle because it was getting, hopefully by the next time you see it you're going to be able to see it slightly bigger, because I'm addicted to this. I had zero intention of casting this on. None whatsoever. It wasn't even on my radar. I was only casting on 3 projects. That was it. 3. I'm casting on 3 projects. And one of them I didn't even cast on. Obviously I wanted to do my walruses. Actually it was 4 that I wanted to do. I was wanting to do a sweater coat. Haven't cast that on. I wanted to do my tiny walruses. I've cast that on. I wanted to do the Edie top. I've cast that on. And I wanted to do the sea boat. That was it. The 4th project, I had a bit of a moment, but we'll talk about that next time. Basically I ripped a project out that I wasn't happy with, and I've used the yarn for that project to make this other one, and I'm a lot happier with that. So with this one I thought, this is what I want to do with this project. I just need to find a way of making it work. So what I've done is I've done the 4 pattern repeats that it calls for. The next round asks you to do 3 garter ridges. I've only done 2 because I don't want it as wide in the stripes as this one. I want the top and the bottom to have slightly wider stripes. I've done 2 garter ridges to separate the colours, and then I've gone on and done the new colour. And again, I'm just going to keep doing the 4 pattern repeats, do the 2 garter ridges, 4 pattern repeats, 2 garter ridges all the way up. I think this should be big enough with the 5 colours every month. Obviously, April has 6. That, again, isn't going to be an issue. As you can see, once I block this, it's going to be fairly big. It is a decent enough size. I have put it on a really long cable, and it is a fairly good size. Actually, 1 second and I will show you exactly what size it is, because I have a cable connector here. Apologies. So, this, as you can see, this is how big it is. Obviously, it's about wingspan length. Can you see? It's about wingspan length. It's a fairly big size. While it's on this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure how wide it is. It's about 60-ish inches wide. What I'll possibly do is do it to possibly 70, maybe 80 inches tall. Again, I'm just going to alternate the Mouse Switch Mystery Mini Club with the West York. I never even said what that was. I'm using the Mouse Switch Yarns Mystery Mini Club from January to December, and I'm using the West Yorkshire Spinners Signature 4-ply in the Sparkle. This is shade 1108, which is Night Sky. It's sparkly, so nice. And it's going to be fantastic. I'm absolutely loving it. Now, sometimes it will contrast really well, sometimes it might not. I don't care. It's going to be fabulous. I'm going to love it. I am, however, going to leave this on. I'm going to stick this back in, and I'm going to stick on my little Pierce Penguin, so you know where I am. Again, I'm just going to keep working on it. I have found myself, when I'm just needing to chill, that this is what I'm picking up constantly. It is a really, really, really nice blanket pattern. Now, the Western Hills, the blanket comes in a doll size, a pram size, a baby size. There's various sizes. Julia also tells you how to modify it to make it bigger. It is a really, really, really nice free pattern. So that is this one. Absolutely love it. I'm going to stick these minis back. I am being left with, I think it's about 8 or 9 grams left. I'm using just over the 10 grams, which is enough to stick into my Cozy Memory blanket. It's enough to give me another hexagon for my hexy blanket. So I'm really, really happy. I just had to cast it on, and it's fabulous. So I'm going to stick this back in, and I'm going to tidy up slightly. Yeah, so that is everything that I cast on at the cast on party. I was very, very good. I have decided to knuckle down and get myself into a routine. I need to get back into a proper routine. The shop is seriously neglected. I have orders coming out my ears that people are wanting, so I need to get myself back into a proper schedule. I am going to have lunch. I am going to check the needle size on the Sebo while I'm having my lunch. I am also going to get a proper schedule down for myself. I need to get that done because it's getting ridiculous. I'm either spending far too much time on the shop and not getting anything done for the podcast, or not getting anything done for the podcast and the shop's getting left. I need to find a proper balance. So that is my plan. Things that we've got planned. Ryan and I need to sit down and decide holidays. He had been contacted by an old co-worker who I sold my first car to. If you remember right, last year we went up to Aberdeen to watch her being raced. At this point, it's coming up for a year since we sold her. And actually, it's past a year since we sold her, because I'm pretty sure we sold her in January. At this point, we thought she was wrecked. He just forgot to tell us that when the race and the next town was. We just thought she'd gone to the great big car Scrappy yard up in the sky. She was done. It turns out she's not done. Work got in the way. He never managed to get the bits and pieces that he was needing to get fixed on her for the race and the next town, so he didn't put her in for it. He has decided that he's basically stripped out her cage, and he's wanting to get the bits fixed that need to be fixed to make her a slightly beefed up Corsa. So he's planning on doing that over the next couple of months, with the plan that they're going to take the car back up to Aberdeen and race her again. Obviously she did win the championship, so he's wanting to go and defend the title in Jade. So we're kind of thinking that we might go back up to Aberdeen. I think that is in June. If I remember right, it's in June. The plan will be that, again, we will take Patch. Patch will go because he's a lot more social dog. Arya, not so much. So what we'll do is, on the way to Aberdeen, we will quickly nip in to Andrew's, drop Arya off. Arya will stay with Andrew for the long weekend. Because again, we're going to do it on the Friday. We'll head up on the Friday, come back home on the Monday morning. On the way back home, we'll pick up Andrew and we'll all come home. Also, I want to meet up with my friends, and we kind of need to get that planned. Not my friends, me and Ryan need to start planning this. So that's something that I do have coming up that I want to go to. Obviously, I think he has already put the holiday in for it. I need to check with him when he's put the holiday in for. I am not 100% sure whether it's going to be a just me and Ryan trip or whether we're going to take Patch. Apart from that, everything's good. My liver has finally recovered from the cast-on party. I do not think that having very late nights and very early mornings is good for me. It did take a long time to recover for this cast-on party, which was more because I don't think it was a great idea, knowing that I was going to be up for an extended period on the Saturday going into the Sunday. I don't think it was a great idea for me to have a late night on the Friday night. I think I should have gone to my bed early on the Friday night and got up and had a proper day. So I'm going to have to start getting back into that pattern. But apart from that, it's good. It's alright. We do need to get the car fixed because it's sprung an oil leak for somewhere. We don't know where. There's just oil gathering underneath the car. We're not 100% sure what's happening because it's not a proper oil leak, because obviously the oil isn't gushing. We've not had a repeat performance of the last Astra that we had, that there was an oil leak inside the engine and it looked like the engine had caught fire. We've not got that. It's just dripping for somewhere, but it's where it's dripping from that's the issue. Again, obviously I need to get the back passenger door fixed because for some reason that's decided that it's not going to open on one end. So yeah, so I have to be a good girl, because obviously I'm wanting to take money to, well, actually I'm not even going to bother going shopping in Aberdeen, to be perfectly honest with you. Food wise it's going to be slightly more expensive for the food, but that's what it is. We know exactly what hotel we're going to stay in. We know exactly where we're going to be, so it should be fine. And yeah. So that is the plan. I do not have very much more to say because this is going to take forever. So I'm going to get lunch. I'm going to get this edited. I'm going to get it uploaded. And I'm going to set myself a proper work schedule. That's my plan. I hope you have a very, very crafty few weeks, and I'll see you back here again soon. Bye!